Hello, Missoula. My name is Everett, and I'm speaking on behalf of a student group from Big Sky High School called Free Us from Climate Chaos. This June 12th through the 16th at the University of Montana, we are hosting a symposium on critical thinking in the face of climate catastrophe. We are collaborating with a list of some of the most respected intellectuals and activists, including Noam Chomsky, George Monbiot, Henry Giroux, Nancy Holmstrom, Derek Jensen, John Holloway, Bill McKibben, and many more. Our symposium is open to all, and we expect all who are concerned about the dire situation our world is in to come and participate and challenge themselves on all their current notions about how we are going to change the world. Please go to our website, freeusfromclimatechaos.org, to sign up and register to participate in our workshops. Now, I'd like to thank the organizers for this opportunity to speak. To date, the voices of the young, like other marginalized communities, have been noticeably absent with the so-called climate movement. This despite the fact that it is our lives which will be most profoundly affected. And not just by a warming planet, but by the entire legacy of ecological devastation left to us by the adult world. Soil fertility, clean water, collapsing fisheries. I won't even mention the social ills, which are vast and horrific. I only wish climate change was the only threat to my future. I say so-called climate movement because it remains unclear to me and my fellow students whether any coherent strategy for cooling the planet back down actually exists. It's also unclear whether events such as this actually demonstrate our strength or our feebleness. Yes, there are large numbers gathered in Washington, D.C. today and other major cities around the world, and yes, they are genuinely outraged at this particular moment. But the Conservation Foundation sponsored a conference on climate change in 1963. The first Earth Day was 47 years ago. The first United Nations Conference of Parties was in 1995, and beyond a cosmetic veneer, the reforms of the past 35 years have been a monstrous failure. Kyoto protocols, 21 different UN COP conferences, cap and trade, and many more half measures and decaffeinated solutions. All of these moments have come and gone until we have reached a point where the very market forces responsible for chaos have become our last hope, according to the champions of the climate movement, where more production and consumption and a booming economy is the tragic limit of our vision. Yet the last 3 years have set 3 new records for climate global temperatures. It was just reported from the labs in Mauna Loa, Hawaii, that we have reached 400 parts per million of CO2 in the atmosphere. ExxonMobil now runs the State Department with Rex Tillerson. A major advocate against the EPA is now running the EPA. Transportation is now the leading source of CO2 emissions in the United States. Obama's drill baby drill, frack the hell out of our land fossil fuel program has cut fuel costs in half. We are encouraging people to drive more and buy bigger gas hogs. Gasoline consumption broke all records in the United States last year. It's too much. We call bullshit. We may be young, but we're not stupid. And we are losing our patience and our confidence that anyone is ready to do what needs to be done to avoid the end of life on Earth. We're exhausted by platitudes. At our young age, we are already profoundly weary and cynical about all the happy talk of just transitions and sacred spaces. We know that returns on investments have nothing to do with justice. We know that in a growth-addicted system, all that is sacred is profaned. With 7 billion people on this planet, we know we cannot all have our cake and eat it too. With all the demands we hear being made today to keep it in the ground, to build a smart grid, to begin a World War II style climate mobilization, renewable energy, we wonder, or else what? If your demands are ignored as they are always ignored, what are you prepared to do to defend our futures, even our very lives? How will you respond to the insane levels of violence? Because that's what ecocide is. Violence right here, right now. How will you protect us? Will you march and install solar panels and buy electric cars? Or are you prepared to use any means necessary? Will you continue to defend and try to reform capitalist democracy even as new corporate logos are installed on each branch of government? Will you just focus on jobs for the American middle class, or will you pay back the climate debt the US owes to so much of the rest of the world and my future? In Naomi Klein's recent book on climate change, she did not title the book, "This Changes Some Things," but instead, "This Changes Everything." She also did not say this is a conflict of climate versus carbon, but instead, climate versus capitalism. We are challenging the so-called environmental movement, 350.org, and anyone who truly appreciates the actual implications of 410 parts per million to join us in critical thought this June with Noam Chomsky and company, to break free from an obviously untenable analysis that thinks renewable energy alone is a desirable outcome, despite the predictions that Earth's population will reach 10 billion by 2050. Can 10 billion people consume at the level we as US citizens do? What in an economy which requires growth is to prevent renewable wind or even fourth generation nuclear power from operating immediately beside coal-powered energy? What cultural or systemic change is significant enough to prevent the capitalists of the future from burning coal that is profitable? I've heard it said that people today can more easily imagine the end of the world than an end to capitalism. Unfortunately, this isn't an option for me as a young person who wants to have this moment in my future to own a home, raise a family, and grow old. Free us from climate chaos. Thank you.